Vashawn Leonard and Andre Miller in the backcourt. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're looking at Kevin Garnett, who had 30 points and 20 rebounds. But the big hero in game number 1 was Sam Cassell, who had 40 points. And that was a playoff career high and playoff franchise record for the Timberwolves. Irvin Johnson's the center. Trenton Hassel is the defensive guard. And we're set to go. Steve, Nuggets have to make some changes tonight.
Well, they better rebound. They gave up 18 offensive boards to Minnesota in game 1 that led to 25 second chance opportunities or second chance points. And then they've got to get the ball out of Sam Cassell's hands. He just came down the floor, came off that high screen and roll, and shot at will. Look for Denver to trap him, get the ball out of his hands.
And the opening tip, Marcus Camby jumping against Kevin Garnett, controlled by the Denver Nuggets. Andre Miller, actually the starting guards. Miller and Vashawn Leonard did not play at all in the fourth quarter. They went to their second stringers in John Barry and Earl Boykins. Here's Carmelo Anthony, guarded by Trenton Hassel. Did a great job in game 1 as Anthony misses the first shot of the game.
Jeff Bzdillik thought that Carmelo Anthony was a little impatient in game 1, and he's just 19 years old. He's still got a lot to learn, but I know that Coach Bzdillik would love for him to take his time a little bit more tonight.
Kevin Garnett, who was in foul trouble, and despite that still chalked up those great numbers. Took 30 shots, hit 13 of them in game 1.
Yeah, you're right. The Denver coaching staff is fine with that. If he's going to take 30 shots to get his 30 points, that's okay. But they can't let Cassell get 40 points.
And they can't turn the ball over to Minnesota. They've got a fast break on their own. Here is Sam Cassell with his first shot of the game. And the Timberwolves picking up where they left off with an early 4-0 lead. Dick Stockton and Steve Kerr. Timberwolves lead the Nuggets 4-2, and it's tied up as Carmelo Anthony gets the basket. You know, he picked up 2 early fouls, and really Denver really got into rhythm.
Well, that's the kind of shot that he needs to get early on. Get to the rim, be aggressive. Don't settle for that 20-foot shot early in the game.
Turnaround by Garnett over Nene. Nene trying to body him. You can see where Denver is playing a lot tougher physically, but if you make the shots, what can you do?
Well, Minnesota is an excellent shooting team. We know that. They were one of the top shooting clubs in the NBA. And Denver's got its hand full defensively.
Nene driving inside. And now the Timberwolves with a 6-4 lead. And Cassell driving in, and the offensive foul called on the illegal block by Irvin Johnson.
Let's take a look at how Carmelo Anthony gets that shot off. He hits Nene, a little split action, nice screen from Andre Miller, and he ends up with a wide open dunk. I love that movement off of a post feed. Instead of standing around, you move, you set screens. It's a lot easier to get a shot that way.
Anthony's game, Steve, is going to the hoop, and he was frustrated and then decided to take outside shots and thought he had to do it all for the team. Don't forget, he's still 19 years old, soon to be 20. Hassel does a good defensive job on Anthony, and the basket by Nene. He has 4 points, and we're tied at 6.
Well, good start for Nene. He was just 2 for 8 in game 1, and they need him to make some shots because Carmelo, you could see there on that move, the entire Timberwolves defense was surrounding him, so Nene's going to be open.
And the foul is against Nene, his first, as Sprewell, who's been kind of the quiet man of the threesome. He did have 11 points, and when you count, you know, what Cassell, Johnson, and Sprewell garnered, they accounted for 81 points. That's 20 more than they did in the regular season.
Well, again, the beauty of having 3 stars as Garnett knocks down the shot is that you really only need 2 of them to score well. Sprewell was 2 for 11 in game 1, but it didn't matter because the other 2 guys played so well.
Oh, so Garnett starts out in impressive fashion, hitting 3 of his first 4. Here is Nene off the double team, 10 on the shot clock. Andre Miller, defended by Cassell, and Miller fires up an air ball on a 3. It never looked like Miller was comfortable with what he wanted to do.
He wasn't comfortable because the shot clock was down to 4. Andre Miller's not really a three-point shooter. He's a guy who likes to get to the rim, but Timberwolves played great defense the entire clock and forced a bad shot at the end of the possession.
And there's the pass into Kevin Garnett. Garnett short on the hook shot in the lane, taken down by Vashawn Leonard. Here is Andre Miller in the open court with a short jumper way off. So Andre Miller misfiring. He scored 12 points on good shooting in game 1. Sprewell comes in with the basket, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are shooting 50% to start the game, lead by a score of 10-6. 11 to 6 now. 20-second timeout.
Denver being very physical with Kevin Garnett, and they will be all series, fronting him down on the block, and Nene being very physical with him, forcing the difficult jump hook. Garnett not able to convert, and then Mr. Sprewell coming down on the break.
And it's 10 to 6, not 11 to 6, with nearly 5 minutes gone by.
Let's take a look at the checklist for the Wolves in game one. This is what they feel like they need to do to get past the first round. KG playing like an MVP. He certainly did. They've gotten all the parts back now with Zerbiak and Olowokandi. Cassell and Sprewell add so much to this team with their playoff experience. And getting over that first round hurdle is so big. They're off to a good start there.
And you know, when you say getting over the first round, I mean, you had figured you're going to beat the number 18. But if you're going to struggle in the series, that's not going to bode well to have to play the winner of the Kings and Mavericks next year.
Yeah, you know, not only do you want to win, but you want to win handily. So we're off to a good start. But this is obviously a key game going back to Denver for the next two.
Nene with a new clock for the Nuggets, and Miller driving in with the basket. So Andre Miller, who is a big free agent pickup, formerly with the Clippers, who was 11th in the league in assists, 10th in steals, and a big factor why the Nuggets gained so much ground this year.
And that's his game, Dick. Getting to the rim, penetration, using his strength and his great ball handling abilities.
And Sprewell off the rim and Camby getting the rebound. And Leonard in the lane hitting the basket. But Sean Leonard, who is one of the great players who have performed for the University of Minnesota in this very town, and has playoff experience reaching the conference finals while a member of the Miami Heat several years ago.
And Leonard is such a good shooter, Dick. Just 3 for 9 in game one. So important to get him off early.
And Sprewell, he's off early with a 3 to break the tie. 13 to 10, Timberwolves lead, less than 6 minutes remaining in this first quarter, and all 6 Minnesota baskets have been jump shots. Leonard, a 2-point shot. He was right on the line, but Rashawn Leonard hitting 2 in a row.
It's so big for Denver because they're really a running team. They're not a half-court offensive team, but if they are in a slowdown situation, which Minnesota will try to force, Rashawn Leonard could knock down some shots in that half-court setting.
And this game starts out as a half-court game, and yet the Nuggets are keeping pace with the Timberwolves with this style. Kevin Garnett defended well by Nene, and the rebound by Marcus Camby. Minnesota dominating the offensive glass. In fact, Camby said they were playing table tennis off of the backboard in game number 1. Trying to loop it up was Leonard, no foul call. Nuggets get back defensively. Sprewell open for 3. He's got it, his second of the game. And Minnesota leads by 4.
And what a great job by Sam Cassell, recognizing that he had the hot man open, finding Sprewell for the wide open 3.
And the crowd loving it, trying to see their Timberwolves take a 2-0 lead before they go to the high altitude of the Pepsi Center in Denver. And a defensive 3-second violation called against the Minnesota Timberwolves with 4:38 remaining in the first quarter. The score, Timberwolves 16, the Nuggets 12. And when we come back, we'll explore the value of Latrell Sprewell. Wolves big 3 at it again. They've scored all their 16 points, but all of them have been jump shots thus far.
Well, they've been terrific, especially Latrell Sprewell, who struggled in game 1. And for Denver, much better job so far on the boards, actually leading 7-6.
Right now, let's go to the third member of our team, D. Liner.
Well, Dick, when you talk about the big 3, you have KG, who's the leader. Sam's a pillar of confidence. And Latrell Sprewell, he's actually the calming effect. Flip Saunders said when we brought those 2 on board, most people thought it would only work if, in fact, KG kept those 2 in line, when, in fact, it's the opposite. He said he's often, in the course of a game, it's Latrell calming the other 2 down. And that was very apparent in game 1 in the fourth quarter. KG was on the bench in foul trouble, and it was Latrell that was preaching patience to his teammates. He said, I learned that over the course of 12 years in the league, D, that game management is so important.
That's what experience will do for you, D, as Rashawn Leonard hit the technical free throw on the defensive 3-second violation before the timeout. Here is Rashawn Leonard, long range, and he hits a 2-point basket. So Rashawn Leonard, who only scored 7 points, has equaled that already, bringing Denver to within 1.
This guy's hot or cold, Dick. He might not show up in the game, but he might get about 30 points, and he's so important again for Denver.
Sprewell will fire a 3 and hits, and did not go for the fake. And Sprewell has hit 3 for 3 from beyond the arc, and coming in with the quick layup is Andre Miller for 2.
That's the kind of play Denver needs. Push the ball up the floor, get some easy opportunities, and now if you've got Leonard and others knocking down some shots from the outside, you're in business.
And the only way you can run is if you get the defensive board. And also, they miss some shots. Sprewell finally misses a shot from the outside. But, you know, if you let Minnesota get offensive rebounds, forget about the fast break.
And what Jeff Bezdilik said to his team, as Pat Riley taught him in Miami, no rebounds, no rings.
Right. And maybe this club is away from rings a little bit, but they want to get this started. Well, but Sean Leonard is feeling it from outside. Leonard has 9 points on 4 for 6 shooting to tie the game.
You know, we talk about it often. After game 1, adjustments are made, and then usually something totally different happens in game 2. Maybe next game everybody's saying, we got to get out on Deshaun Leonard.
Why aren't they cheering this guy? He played in this town at the University of Minnesota. Sprewell, who was hot early, missing again, this time with an air ball. And Leonard getting a low pass will set it up. He wants Nene to clear out. He says, I'm feeling it, and get out of the way. Give the ball to Deshaun Leonard, and Leonard gives the Nuggets their first lead of the game.
You know, we haven't talked about it much, but he's got a lot of playoff experience back in Miami. He's hit a lot of big shots in his postseason career.
And going up with a shot is Olowokandi, who replaced Irvin Johnson, and that's what Olowokandi gives this team, the former Clipper, who missed 36 games with knee surgery. Well, Leonard's going to keep shooting until he misses, but I don't know if that's going to happen. 14 points for Leonard, and the three-point basket giving Denver the lead by 3.
He is flat out in the zone. Talking to Sprewell, he's feeling it tonight.
You know, I don't think Vajon Leonard liked sitting on the bench in the fourth quarter in game 1. He says, I'm going to be on the floor now and maybe most of the game. What a start for Vajon Leonard. 14 of the last 16 points for the Denver Nuggets. Good defensive play by Francisco Elson. Elson has probably played better against Garnett than any member of the Denver team during the regular season.
I would agree, and he's got the build for it. He's long and lean and very athletic, and he can stick with him.
And how about that foul as Anthony with the quick fake, and Hassel, a good defender, went for it and committed the personal.
And speaking of Hassel, he's been doing an excellent job on Anthony. And again, everything has been fading away, as you see here. Missing the shot over Zerbiak. Here, Hassel doing a nice job forcing him again to the fadeaway. So I think Anthony needs to try to get to the rim, draw some contact, get to the foul line.
But you have to say for Denver, Carmelo Anthony has only 4 points. They're on the road trailing by 4. That's not a bad situation for this team.
Well, they've done the things that they set out to do. They're comfortable with where they are right now. Now they just need to get Carmelo going.
Cassell trying to get going, and Sam Cassell hitting his second field goal of the game, giving...
Desperately needs to put a nice little 2-minute run here.
Andre Miller over Cassell, and it doesn't go. Drops off, and Garnett with 2 minutes to go with another rebound. Sprewell feeding Garnett against the double team, passes out to Hassel. And the bounce ball, and Anthony wanted to bounce it off of Timberwolves, and he went to the other side of the court to Andre Miller, and the offensive foul going the other way. And right now, I have to say generally that the Denver Nuggets are rushing shots when they have an opportunity, a little still impatient.
Well, I like the way Miller pushed it. Now, that was a little bit of a tough shot there, but I still like the fact that Denver is trying to play their style and get up and down the floor.
43-35, the 8-point lead for Minnesota with 1:42 remaining. Well, Denver had it going in the first quarter with 50% shooting, only 1 turnover. They now have 6 turnovers in the game. As the T-Wolves have turned up the heat, here is Garnett. And Irvin Johnson getting the offensive rebound. Sprewell for 3, he hasn't missed, and he hits another one. 5 for 5 for Sprewell. And makes 1 out of 2, cutting the deficit to 12. Cassell off the glass. Cassell with 6. But the Nuggets are not taking advantage of it, and Anthony defending against Hassel. And the personal foul called. That's the first against Carmelo Anthony.
I think it just shows that this is really a complete team now. You know, Garnett's 4 for 16. Cassell just 3 for 8. But look at what everybody else has done for Minnesota. You've got Hassel at the line now, who's chipped in with 5 points. Sprewell, obviously, with the big half, 17. And several guys off the bench. Olowokandi, Zerbiak, Fred Hoiberg came in and hit a big shot. I just think that this is a more complete team that Minnesota has now.
No question about it. Finally, they have that. And, you know, it was evident by number 1 in the seed. They had the best record in the Western Conference. But Minnesota wants to slip through this Denver team fast because they know that the Kings and the Mavericks are going to probably have a really big slugfest. And the block made by Kevin Garnett, his 3rd of the game. Sprewell for 3 and misses his first from beyond the arc. Hassel saves it nicely into the hands of Garnett, but his pass to Cassell picked off by Andre Miller. And here is Bashawn Leonard, and Leonard hits. Leonard, the big scorer earlier in the game, came up empty for a while, and now with 17.
Finally a fast break.
Basket counts and the foul. Going against the grain is Latrell Sprewell, and looking for his 22nd point of the game.
Well, Minnesota runs a nice little set to free Sprewell up, and then on the drive, Leonard struggling to stay in front of him, just gets a hand in there, maybe a little push down low. Sprewell knocks it down. Thank God somebody's making a shot in this game.
That's why you hear the cheers. There's no lid on that bench. He adjusted, had 30 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals.
Well, he was Michael Jordan.
Yes, he was.
So he's supposed to do stuff like that.
Even back then. Even back 19 years ago. And the 3-point shot by Latrell Sprewell. 25 for Sprewell. He has 6 from beyond the arc. 6 of 7 from 3-point territory. 2:45 remaining in the 3rd. And the turnaround by Anthony. So Carmelo Anthony getting a couple of baskets here in this 3rd quarter, but the lead is 13 for the T-Wolves.
It's so important to get to the foul line if you're a scorer. You know, you miss some open shots.
Steal by Andre Miller. And Miller with the lay-in, cutting it now again to 11.
A critical point of this game here. Denver has to continue to try to force turnovers to get them into that open floor game, and Derek Martin struggling a bit with the pressure.
Earl Boykins putting the pressure on, and there's Spree. And Sprewell short on the jump shot, and a chance to cut it to single digits for the Denver Nuggets with under 2 minutes remaining in this 3rd quarter.
Well, we'll see if they go back to Anthony. He's had a couple of successful moments here down on the block, but a bad pass by Elson.
Throws the ball away with 1:51 on the clock. And a timeout. 61-50. Carmelo Anthony and Michael Jordan. Boy, if Carmelo could just achieve what Michael Jordan has come in any way.
What's up, kid? What's up, man? Well, I tell you, 1 for 7, no rebounds in the 1st quarter. I don't know about that. Wait till the playoffs come. Let's get harder.
Wait till the playoffs come is right. Defense gets so much tougher when you get to the postseason, and Minnesota just all over this young fella, making life miserable.
There's the Iceman, George Gervin. 1:20 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And there is Elson getting 3 from Anthony.
Well, again, the double team comes over, and Anthony shows the maturity to deal with it and find the open man, and Elson doing a nice job of popping free under the hoop. Denver in pretty good shape here.
Well, when I gave those numbers before about Michael Jordan in the 2nd game as Garnett goes in and is fouled, the point was that he did other things. He rebounded, he had steals, and that's what you can do if you're Anthony if you can't get your shot off.
Oh, I'm sorry, is that what you were trying to say? I apologize. I'm so sorry, Dick.
You know, I was attempting to get that across, but he has 9 rebounds, so he's getting that job done.
He is. I just think that the main thing with him is just being more patient. And what happens in the playoffs is people are geared up to stop you, and they have days and days to prepare for you and set game plans, and then they can adjust those game plans, so it becomes infinitely more difficult for that individual. Michael was able to make those adjustments over the years, and I'm sure Carmelo Anthony will too.
I was so pleased to finally, get that straight as far as the interpretation of Michael Jordan's numbers in the second playoff.
Well, I'm glad that you're happy with yourself.
Just momentarily, Steve, it will change. So Garnett hitting both free throws on his first trip to the line, under a minute remaining. 13-point lead for Minnesota, 65-52. Camby. Oh! And Anthony fighting for the loose ball. And now Dick Bavetta got the better look, said it was not Anthony, but the Timberwolves who last touched it. So a new clock and a new possession. Camby 0 for 6 tonight. Slow start for him.
Well, let's take a look and see if Dick Bavetta was right or not. Tough to tell. I don't know how these officials do it, frankly. It happens so fast that you never know.
Andre Miller missing the layup, and that was deflected. That was 15 rebounds for Garnett. And there is Sprewell getting a rebound, so it's Minnesota, the team that's been able to run out here in the third quarter late.
And they're doing another nice job of closing out the quarter. Like we talked about in the second period, Denver had the ball, 42 seconds left in really a 2-for-1 situation. If Miller could have gotten that thing to go, and then they go down to the other end and make a stop, you got a chance to get the lead under double digits, but they can't do it. Now Sprewell's at the line, and chance to really build this lead.
And this is the first free throw. Two would have matched their biggest lead of the game. Cassell on the bench right now, and for Sam Cassell, 6 points tonight, but when you have a big three, there are others to pick up the 7, and Garnett with 12. Somehow they always get to that 60 mark.
One way or another. The story of this game so far has been Sprewell and Minnesota's defense. And they didn't have that in years past. They didn't have the ability to shut teams down, and that's what you have to do in the playoffs.
Here's the back door. Anthony firing it up and hitting Carmelo Anthony, who now with 13 points. Leonard with the 19 is the scoring leader for Denver, and playing for the last shot, Derek Martin. And here is Garnett going to step back, fire over Elson, and the ball batted away. So the Denver Nuggets had 27 points in the first quarter, and they have had 27 points since. That's defense for Minnesota. That's the way they play the last 14 games of the year, and they will take a 16-point lead, or 12-point lead, 66-54 into the fourth quarter.
These three totaled 64% of the team's offense. That number was up to 74 the other night, and tonight it's nearly 70%. And Dick Flip said it's a winning formula. Some people may say that's too much, but we had the best record in the Western Conference. We are the #1 seed. I don't want it to change at this point in the season.
Who would complain about that? To have three players like that. And Zerbiak coming off the bench and getting the lay-in on the fast break. How can you complain about having three prolific scorers and a tight late-season defense and having the best record with 58-24?
Well, they don't get a whole lot of respect. They're the #1 seed.
They're like San Antonio this year, too.
Similar, and I think it's even more pronounced because of their past playoff failures. But you know what? This is a different team. So who cares? I think Charles talked about that in the studio the other night. Do you think Sprewell or Cassell care about what happened 7 years ago?
No. Zerbiak committed the foul, and now he's committed another. So 4 on Wally Zerbiak in a blink of an eye. Wally Zerbiak is the first T-Wolf to have 4 fouls. And Trenton Hassel getting set to return to the game. Earl Boykins with Barry, Elson, Anthony, and Camby for the Denver Nuggets. Barry with the runner. And the rebound taken down by Garnett. 37% shooting for Denver, and they're getting beaten. This is a fast break team that's getting beaten at the other end. This was Hoiberg on the lay-in.
kick. It's now 16-8 in fast break points in favor of Minnesota. No way Denver can win a game in this series if they don't beat the Timberwolves on the fast break, that's for sure.
And that was Earl Boykins with his second basket. Now, Boykins had a big game one with 16. But he hasn't played as much because they have used Sean Leonard and Andre Miller a lot more than they did in the opening game.
Well, Jeff Bzdelik talked about his players being situational guys as Garnett scores easily. He's got to make decisions, Bzdelik does, based on who's hot. And obviously, Sean Leonard was hot in the first quarter, so Boykins' minutes, as a result, have gone down.
Meanwhile, Garnett, his points aren't going down. 14 points, 16 rebounds, and Hoiberg on the push. And the clock shows 10:14 right now. We're still early in this fourth quarter. And Hoiberg committing the foul. Nene, who has 4 himself, returns to the game, replacing Francisco Elson. You look at the big people. Camby has not scored. Nene has 4. Elson has 2. They've gotten nothing. And then Carmelo Anthony, their leading scorer, 13.
Well, it's like the story about the boy plugging his finger in the dike. You know, they plugged the ones about, you know, Cassell and the rebounding issues. They plugged those up pretty well, but Sprewell has popped up, and obviously the Timberwolves defense has just made life miserable on the Nuggets.
And Boykins at 5'5" got knocked down by the 7-foot Olowokandi, who picks up his second foul. And that already is 14 fouls on the Timberwolves with less than 2 minutes gone by. So they should be in the penalty very early here. Here's Boykins getting free. He can't bank it in, but there's Barry for the offensive rebound, and his jumper is also off, and it is stuck through, and no basket. Offensive interference above the cylinder. Carmelo Anthony, no basket for Denver.
Oh, it looked like that shot might have gone in for Barry. Maybe not, but Carmelo's got to lay off that thing anyway.
Denver has 2 good looks right there. They weren't especially long jump shots, and they missed them both. And Boykins now called for the personal foul on the Nuggets. Looks like frustration for Denver at this point. Well, tomorrow, TNT brings you a couple of game 3s, the Nets and the Knicks, with New Jersey leading 2-0. And the Grizzlies come home for their first playoff game ever in Memphis as they go against the Spurs Friday. Pacers and Celtics, Lakers and Rockets on ESPN game 3s. Cassell with 8 points. And a timeout call by Jeff Bzdelik. So Sam Cassell, who is taking a supporting role after a brilliant 40-point scoring effort in game 1. 74-56 points in game 1.
Well, and tonight, Denver put so much emphasis on stopping him that who does that leave our X factor tonight?
Can only be one guy.
How about Latrell Sprewell, who has taken advantage of the attention paid to Cassell and poured in 28 points. He's been terrific.
Carmelo Anthony, I'm going to say wishes he were going into his junior year at Syracuse, but that wouldn't be fair. Will inbound the ball.
I think it's also not true. I think he's kind of having fun.
I think he's having a blast.
Well, maybe not in this game, but
Nene.
Well, they're going to be shooting free throws now the rest of the quarter. Denver has 5 quick fouls here in just 2.5 minutes.
The first personal on Garnett. Carmelo Anthony, who came to a team that won 17 games last year. And they had a lot of other players, but no frontline people, really, when you think about it. Camby had been hurt for so many years. Miller was a free agent, new face on the team. And this guy took over the team, led them in rebounding. Actually, his numbers were comparable in many ways with LeBron James, who won the Rookie of the Year award. And most people who you will, say, and LeBron James won the award, and Carmelo said, look, I always had in my mind that I wasn't going to win anyway. Co-Rookies of the Year would have been perfect, I think.
I think he should have at least shared it. His team's in the playoffs. LeBron's is not, obviously. Both players were absolutely phenomenal. If ever there was a year that 2 players would share the award, this was it.
Garnett looking for Zerbiak, driving into the basket, gets the hoop and the foul. There's Zerbiak, and the bench coming into play once again. And the foul was on Nene, and that'll be 5 on him. So Zerbiak with 8.
Well, this is a play that Minnesota has run for years. They hit Garnett at the high post, then set a little back pick for Cassell. And as frequently happens, when you set the pick, you're often the one who is open. And that time Zerbiak with the beautiful cut to the basket and the lay-in.
So Nene remains in the game, but he'll be heading out. Doliak is at the scorer's table. It is 77 to 57, 20-point lead as the Timberwolves continue to open up their biggest margin here in the fourth quarter. And Nene makes a great move, baseline beating Olowokandi to the hoop.
Boy, is he quick, and you've got to think that this guy has a bright future. He's very quick and long and strong.
Second year out of Brazil, he has a lot of skills. Here's Camby getting 2 more. And this is a young club. You look at Anthony and Nene, who's only...
Shaq, of course, I should say. Shaq is obviously special and dominant, but I think, given the injuries he's had the last couple of years and the fact that he's slowed down just a bit, I think Duncan and Garnett probably have passed him, and they're probably better overall players, too, in terms of passing, perimeter shooting, and getting their teammates involved.
Sam Cassell. Slow start. Cassell now double figures with 10. 28 for Sprewell, 16 for Garnett, 10 for Cassell. Minnesota has not missed from the field. They're 7 for 7 here in the fourth quarter. Nene goes up and will go to the line. He is fouled. So Minnesota ice cold to start the third, red hot here in the fourth.
Well, Cassell loves to shoot the ball, and he's among the best in the league.
He had 20 in game 1. And Cassell fouled by John Barry.
Well, for Denver, it's been a long few days. They had to wait around to get to game 2 since Sunday night. And I think it's much more difficult on the road team, especially when you lose that first game. It just seems like an eternity before the next one starts. And now it looks like they're going to lose this one and head back to Denver down 0-2. And they'll have to make some further adjustments. They're really counting on that home crowd to get them going.
And the altitude perhaps as well, as you saw Hoiberg gets a hand as he leaves the game, replaced by Zerbiak. 3-point attempt by Garnett. And pushing it up is John Barry. Goes behind to Vashawn Leonard. Leonard had the hot hand early in the game. Leonard with 19 points, the scoring leader, looking for more, and he's got more. 3 more to be exact. 22 for not his night offensively tonight. And there is the tying rebound for the playoff career of Kevin Garnett. 21 boards. Under 5 minutes remaining in the game. It's 83 to 65. Garnett with a pass to Irvin Johnson for the lane.
He's now 1 assist shy of a triple-double. So Kevin Garnett, his shot may not be going tonight, but he's doing it all.
Whoever wants to beat Minnesota better do something about that big 3, as Zerbiak is called for the foul on Vashawn Leonard. And that'll be a 2-shot foul. 5 on Zerbiak.
About the court vision of Garnett. Receives the pass, sees Nene helping off of Irvin Johnson. Finds his teammate for the easy deuce.
20-point lead, and Vashawn Leonard.
And Dick, you better believe Wally Zerbiak's going to take some heat from his teammates tonight. 5 fouls in 15 minutes. He's not Mark Madsen, all right? He's Wally Zerbiak. He's not supposed to be hacking people like that.
Carmelo Anthony back into the game for Denver, has scored 13 points. Leonard makes both. Vashawn with 24. And it's 85-67. And double team. Camby looking for the steal. Makes a great steal, and Miller with the lay-in. So Camby helped with the double team.
And you gotta love the hustle. I mean, down 18 points, 19 points. He's diving all over the floor. You got to remember, in these final few minutes, you're really establishing what's going to happen in game 3.
Setting the tone for the next game. Least to say, good finish. And there's Garnett. Double team. Tapped out by Irvin Johnson. Minnesota Timberwolves team overtook the Sacramento Kings for first place in the West. They led the Midwest Division for the final 3 months of the season. So they pretty much had things their way all year. Sprewell with another three, 7 of 8. Look, his 10th assist, and Oliver Miller will come in to replace him in the hand. Third career playoff double for Kevin Garnett, and this is coming off a 30-point, 20-rebound effort in game number 1. If anyone ever put an exclamation point on the letters MVP, this man is doing it. The vote was in, of course, as you know, before the playoffs started.
And you know what I love? What he just did. He made a point of walking over to Trenton Hassel and saying, great.
And the Minnesota defense clamped down. 27 points here in the fourth, and a lot of them after this game well decided. Final seconds tick down, and it's all over. The Minnesota Timberwolves getting a great effort from that man, Kevin Garnett. Third career triple-double in the playoffs. And a great performance by Sprewell with 31 points. Leonard led Denver with 24. Final score again, Timberwolves 95, Nuggets 81. For Steve Kerr, D. Lynam, and our crew, Dick Stockton saying goodnight from Minneapolis. The NBA playoffs on TNT. Once again, your exclusive home for the Western Conference Finals. And let's go to D. Lynam.
Thanks very much, Latrell. 7 of 8 from downtown tonight. That is a franchise record, but I said you just boosted your playoff three-point percentage from like 27 to 35. Why so successful?
I don't know. I think the bottom line is I knew as well as the team that we needed this game. It was very important for us to win tonight, and you know, it's a lot of pressure on them now.
And Desmond Mason get into each other's grill. Each would get teased. 5 minutes left, Bucks up 12. Hamilton driving, gets called for the foul. He doesn't agree. He fouls out, has words to say. He's gone. He had 18 points before he left. Speaking of points scoring, Brevin Knight hits the J. Bucks lead 87-72 with 3:13 left in the fourth. And here come the Pistons, saving their best for last. Too little, too late, perhaps. Rasheed Wallace, 16 points, 12 boards, 5 assists. Pistons within 11. The lead cut to 8 after the miss by Rasheed. Pistons crashing the boards, and Lindsey Hunter will come up with this thing and put in the rock. Pistons down just 6. They were down just 4. Off the bad pass, Hunter comes up with the steal, the dish to Mike James, who doesn't miss from there. It's a 2-point game. Under 10 seconds to go, Damon Jones shooting 2 to close it out. To close it out, she said. First free throw. No, misses it. And he missed the second. Pistons down 2. Rasheed Wallace will get it in the corner, and he loses the ball. Said she later, it just slipped out of my hands. And so did the champ. Do that in game 2. Wade setting the tone with the steal and the finish, put Miami up 2. They were up 5. Wade, so comfortable. The over-the-shoulder pass to Caron Butler for the emphatic finish. I think this is a top play nominee. Heat up 7. Oh, now for the Hornets, Baron Davis. Yeah, it was a rough night. How about 3 of 14 from the field? More in the second. Davis trying to drive to the hole, and he just can't get going. Missed the easy layup, but he is fouled. Third quarter, Hornets can't buy a bucket. Jamal McLeod, 9 points, 4 of 11 from the field, fouled out. Next play for the Hornets, Davis, 13 points for Barron, but 0 for 6 from three-point range. Heat in control. P.J. Brown, he too were clanking it off the rim all night. Just 4 points, 2 of 12 from the field, plus 3 turnovers. Said Coach Tim Floyd, we were frustrated inside and became dependent on the jump shot. No such worries from Miami. Ask Eddie Jones, who had 19. And then later in the third, Davis to Darrell Armstrong, who misses the 3. Hornets 2 of 19 in the third. Hornets tied for the second lowest point total in the playoffs since the shot clock was introduced, and they're down 0-2 to Miami. So here we go. In paper, on paper, in writing, the Hornets approaching several dubious NBA records Wednesday. They made just 20 shots, the second fewest in NBA playoff history. They scored just 63 points, tied for the second fewest. They shot just 24.4%.